And Muriel O'Toole, she's always been there.
The recording started.
His retirement from what? Oh, yeah, he was a problem. For his wife and everything. I know, I know we're all bodies.
So just so everyone knows,
He had an apartment in.
I think Lily Jean is actually calling in from the hospital. She's been a little bit ill. I think she's feeling better. She's here. We have Elijah here.
And they said at the end it was a medication. He was.
So glad she's well enough to join us.
Yeah.
I don't know, I don't know if she's, she wants to be talking or not, but if she does, Lily Jean, let us know.
No, he acted normal.
So are you ready? Just go ahead.
It's up to the boss. You're it.
Who's it?
What are we waiting for?
Yeah.
You're the boss. You're the boss.
No, this is a board meeting.
It's a committee meeting.
This is a full board meeting.
Oh, this is a full board meeting. Little did I know. Welcome to everybody. Call to order. Invocation and pledge of allegiance. Let me think a little bit about invocation. I've had my go around with a good board lately. We've got a couple of surgeries that are over the next few weeks. So I want to thank the Lord for all we do. I want to ask for the Lord's guidance in our work in the RTA. I think a lot about the people who use the service of the RTA. And I think about what they do if they weren't there. And I thank the Lord for when we do extend our services and build our model so that those people can get to work. You got it? Yeah. Where they can get around to the store. Yeah. So I want to thank all of you. Hey,
How is everyone? Sorry, it's late.
Good indication.
thank all of you for working with the Lord and the Lord working with you. And we together holding hands are helping people who wouldn't have this set of service at all. Think about this area with no buses. And think about people who have resources that they could help the others, but they didn't. Back 25 years ago, I'm wearing the 25-year ago t-shirt. So if I had to take my shirt off and bury my way down there, I'd finally figure out how far back it was. But we should be thankful for doing the Lord's work. And I thank all of you. I think I've been doing this for 9 or 10 years now. Thank all of you for the work that you have done to help all of us. Amen. Amen. Invocation and pledge of allegiance.
Pledge of allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, which is one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
And could we have a roll call?
Sedilka? Here. Catherine D'Angelo? Here. Daryl Eichel?
Here.
Lily Jean Johnson?
He's here.
Marvin King?
Here.
Elijah Method?
Here.
Rob Sheehan?
Here.
Art Silverman?
Here.
Nicholas Swain?
Here.
Randall Wallace?
We have an roll call. Okay.
Yep, and you haven't.
We've got an agenda in front of us. We don't have paperwork today, but we've got plenty of stuff on the screen. Could we have an approval of the agenda, please? I will be approved the agenda.
Second.
Any questions or suggestions? No, all those in favor of approving the agenda, please say aye.
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 All those opposed? Okay. We've also got approval of minutes, January 31st. I got mine a couple of days ago. I just didn't think to bring with me. Any questions or concerns about the minutes?
I hope that we approve minutes.
Okay, we have one second.
Second.
Anybody, Daryl, we got that?
Amended the topic, I think it's first item in their new business about aspirin in March. We have Brian give a recap of potential funding sources. The way it reads is for the land purchase. My intent was for land and all the facilities we need to do. After write for last week, I think you have some new stuff to add to that list, but I'm going like an account of how we're gonna get all of that money we need for everything we need to do.
Okay,
So where was that in the minutes?
I thought it was,
this was in the new,
I know it's the first item in the new business. I read this.
Oh, there it is.
More than just land is the main thing. I did want it delayed to March. Because we'll have Friday's deadline on the government shutdown. And now in March the 20th, we have hopefully it's the last ride for meeting. So that stays into place. People will have a roadmap forward to how we're going to get all the money we need. You're probably going to talk about ride four in your energy.
Yeah, we can. So Marty, just let's that first sentence under new business, just layout of options for grants. Period. They take out for purchasing the land. And we can edit that.
could we have a revision of the new minutes before we finish today? And we will accept it at the end of the day?
I think you could get a vote as amended, and yes, we can
Does everybody understand
you
it?
a new version.
Okay,
Yes, good.
everybody's fine? All those in favor of the amendment, please say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed? Okay, now, back to the approval of the revised minutes. All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Okay, have we got any public comments? Is there, my friend here?
Nope, doesn't look like we have any visitors in the room today
Okay,
or online.
okay. So we have no visitors, then we have no public comments. Let's move on to the committee reports, the service pack committee that we had last week. Nick. I thought it was just a committee report. No wonder he's looking at me.
Before
It's up to you.
Before the committee report, I did not get my iPad and I couldn't get on last week. I don't have the credentials.
Nick was in charge of service.
I know that.
Yeah,
I'm just
we'll
reporting.
get you an iPad today.
Okay.
Yep.
All right.
And she tell you everything, she helped me last week. And
Well,
So Nick, if you'd like, I mean, I have the slides from last week. We can kind of quickly run through those to do your report if you want me to do that, or how do you want to?
that's what we're doing, the show's.
Yeah, I can kind of run through what we talked about. And, okay.
Okay.
Talked about route service, or service adjustment on Route 16. I do think we would like a vote from the board at some point today. I'm assuming that Service PAC was bringing this to the board for a vote. We are not quite through with the public involvement piece. We've got one more meeting in Georgetown. And we'll sort of talk about the mechanics of how we want to get this approved. But essentially, the changes that we're proposing to Route 16 is taking out essentially the second bus that enters into service at 9:30 at the transit center. in Myrtle Beach. And replacing it with an extra trip by one of the limited stop buses that comes in the morning. So there's two limited stop buses that leave Georgetown in the morning. One goes into service on Route 15 once it gets to Myrtle Beach. The other one does a trip on Route 7, coming back like a limited stop on Route 7. We would propose for that bus to do one more trip going to Georgetown and back to cover one of the morning trips on this bus that we're taking out would provide. It's about a, well, we had, this part of the service was put in place in, I want to say October of 20. And it is service that we took out last summer because of the driver shortage. Didn't really have too many issues with it. I will say that the overall increase in service was, we increased service by about 50%. We only got about a 17% increase in ridership. This change does save 4 full-time equivalent drivers weekly, which we could definitely use in other parts of the service. It saves approximately $175,000 in operating costs. There are some schedule impacts to routes 4, 7, and 14. Essentially, Route 4 we would have one less trip in the morning because we're not sending one of the limited stops down south. Route 7 would lose an express trip from Myrtle Beach back to Conway in the morning, which is not very heavily utilized. And then Route 14 it currently starts in Sampit, which is along 521 between Georgetown and Andrews. We would start it a few minutes early and have it start in Andrews so that it covers one of the missed limited stop trips and meets up with the regional service in Georgetown. Like I said, the public involvement is in process. We went through a number of comments. Obviously we didn't get a ton of comments, but the vast majority of them, please don't eliminate the service, was a big part of it. But we do have one more public involvement meeting in Georgetown tomorrow. So I guess I would ask the board, or the committee is asking the board to approve this change contingent on us not hearing anything remarkable at the public meeting tomorrow. We would like to implement the change in service on March 10th, so it's a week from Sunday. And it does have, probably the biggest impact is helping us on our budget revision more than anything else. So that's the primary reason for changing the service.
How many people responded or how many people came to public comment? 16?
Yeah, it was in the teens as of last week. I would imagine, imagine we've had a few others since. But again, we're not, obviously there's not going to be anybody coming out to say they support the change typically. And, we recognize we are inconveniencing some people, but in the overall scheme of things, this was the most logical cut. It would not require the elimination of the route. Everything else has one bus on it. We try to cut the service out on those. We're completely eliminating the route.
Is it ethical to vote on it before the comments and say what if the comments aren't?
I don't think ethics are in question. I think it's just a matter of timing. We got started a little late on the public involvement process. And this is when we could get the room scheduled. So again, we will probably hear, if we hear anything, we'll hear some of the same that, we don't want you to take the trip. I think the biggest bone of contention is a loss of a limited stop service trip at 7:30 in the morning in Georgetown. That's probably the biggest bone of contention. It's not so much the daytime service. which is where the bulk of this change is. I would say that if we do get a reasonable number of people to that meeting, that we might put that trip back in.
So what can they say that would stop?
I don't think it's a matter of what they say, it's a matter of how many people show up. You know, if we get 25 people, then I think that's significant enough to where, you know, we would, and they're specifically talking about that particular change. I think that's something that we could put back in fairly easily.
And I see your dilemma on this. One other question. Doug said last week that it would cause a 7X to be added in. How does that work?
When one of the buses comes out of service, it comes out of service in Myrtle Beach. And so we're deadheading it back to Conway, so we just laid it in. It becomes an afternoon trip instead of the morning trip.
Right, I guess.
And it would be much heavier utilized on that route. So that's actually an improvement for Route 7, to be honest. Because it would be leaving, not in here, I think in the 2:15 timeframe. So it'll take a little bit of pressure off the 3 o'clock trip, which is our heaviest load.
I'm gonna pick up Bernie's thing about it's appropriate to vote to do it, not knowing the next meeting. I understand well, we don't want to wait till the end of March to have our next board meeting to do this. You could do an executive committee for 3 of the people on that. Probably you're not going to get much turnout or any objections to do it, but instead of wasting a whole month implementing these 4 FTE services, we could address Bernie's concern that you have approval from the board. After the board weighed in, that'd be my suggestion. I don't want to wait another month.
Well, I'm easy. I mean, I think, you know, it seems not fair to do that, but I'm sure you're right about what you're going to find out. A few people will be saying don't like it.
It's not, certainly from staff's perspective, it's not what we want to do. You know, this is not a good thing on any level. I think it's something we need to do. It's going to help us kind of leading up to the summer in terms of our labor requirements. And kind of in light of some of the things going on with the county, you know, and honestly, it didn't do what we thought it would do overall. I mean, has not been a huge increase in ridership for a fairly significant investment. That's such a long trip that it's going to be tough. Now, the other thing that I could say is that we, you know, for some of those folks who did make a point to call in, we might try to pursue a van pool opportunity for some of those folks.
But when's the public comment tomorrow?
It's tomorrow. What time? Does anybody know what time the meeting is tomorrow?
Right, Georgetown is today,
What's today?
from, I want to say it's like 12 to 3, and then tomorrow is in the transit center from 9 to 3.
Who's handling the conversation at Georgetown then?
Doug and Erica.
And there's another public comment tomorrow. 2 more.
We have not had a whole lot of people talking to us in Myrtle Beach.
Well, I think the board is uncomfortable with voting and then having this occur the next day. That just doesn't make a lot of sense. There must be a way we could. How about this? How about if the board votes now to allow the executive committee, which is the chair, vice chair, and past chair, to decide tomorrow by phone? Is that reasonable?
But you said it better than I did. That's my intent to do that because I don't think we should prove something that hadn't happened yet. I don't want to waste another month saving money.
It's fine.
And Nick, this is your area.
Yeah, I have some other issues. One of the concerns we have here is we have the CAC coming before us here. Because we don't have a citizens action committee. And that's just time, we need time to do it. But I'd be amenable to making a motion that we defer this to the executive committee.
Good. I second.
Okay.
The 3 of you guys can be reached by phone would be easy.
Well, in some ways, we don't need a motion. We just don't need to do the motion. But
I think you do.
The board has to allow the executive committee to make a decision. So we're going to get that written out, drafted.
I think.
No, I think
a motion on the floor.
it made a motion.
And, Bernie seconded.
Yeah, that's right. Okay, why don't we restate the motion and then.
Nick, your motion is?
The motion is to defer the action on Route 16 to the executive committee.
Okay, and now call for comments and then vote.
Any discussion?
And you expect the rest of the board to vote in agreement with the executive board, is that what you're saying?
No,
Just leaving the decision to the executive
committee. Rest of the board won't have to vote. They're voting to allow the executive committee to make the decision.
Without their,
Yes. We can bring it back as an information item at the next board meeting of what we've done, so that all the board could be brought into it. Yeah, plus, if you want comment, I mean, I think the comment is, I think Brian is going to be 100% correct. But I still think this is a fair way to do it. Well, we want the board to record it cleanly though, so let's do what we suggest. But now we need a vote, right, for the board to allow the executive committee to make the decision following the second of the two. Any other questions about it?
Yes, I have a question. I wasn't
Yeah.
quite sure about the motion. So you were saying you're deferring action on Route 16?
Yes, ma'am, to the executive committee. We want to get through these last two public involvement meetings today and tomorrow before we make a final decision.
Does that include Georgetown as well, or are we just focusing on 16?
16 is a route that runs between Horry and Georgetown County. So it affects both counties, and one of the meetings is in Georgetown and one of the meetings is in Myrtle Beach.
And the meeting for Georgetown is this morning. It's already happened, right?
It's happening simultaneously.
Okay, all right, thank you.
Yes.
And we are delegating the vote on that to the executive committee.
Okay, thank you.
All right, all those in favor?
It's you three, right?
Yeah. Yeah. All those in favor of this action, please say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed? Okay. Go for it.
So the service pack went on to do a little bit of, we had a little bit of conversation about ridership trends. We looked at the first 4 months of FY23 and compared it to FY24. And saw the system overall is about a 2.5% decrease in ridership. Although we do have some routes that we are a little bit concerned about that we're going to keep an eye on and continue to monitor and see how things are going. We weren't sure that, we don't think it's necessarily an alarming issue yet, but something that we wanted to keep an eye on. Route 17 was sort of the one that was not, it was sort of the outlier where we've seen a 35% increase in ridership. Even though that route is 2-hourly service between North Myrtle Beach and Myrtle Beach, ridership continues to grow on that.
I had asked that this chart be submitted, be presented to the service pack committee before their meeting, so that we could go over that.
Well, these slides are now on the drive, on the board drive that you can get to via your pad tablet, so everybody can look at them and we can bring up the conversation again next month and maybe even have some updated data. Just some other quick updates that we discussed in committee. We were awarded 5310 funds. It turns out that the award is only for 3 transits. Just a quick update on that. And that I'm planning to bring in some 5339 money for a cutaway. We should be able to get those buses in early summer, June, July timeframe. We also want to put in 2 engine replacements for New Flyers. We have two of our first batch of the New Flyers have exceeded 600,000 miles on them. So it's time for an engine replacement. And we are expecting the state to release a vehicle program in fairly short order that I'm hopeful to replace nabbies with, at least some of them, with some dollars coming out of that program. We talked a little bit about what's going on with the organizational plan. Obviously, the biggest next step for that process, this is the study that Kimley Horn is working on, is to go out for a public involvement process that will incorporate the long-range plan. It will incorporate the fare structure analysis. We will be talking to people about the human service coordination plan. And then looking at some near-term priorities for a 5-year TDP strategic plan. And so that's, we also need to incorporate an onboard survey. So that's something that's sort of above and beyond that. Is not incorporated in their scope. I'm planning on adding it to them, and we'll talk about kind of where we're getting money for that when we get to finance.
When did we complete our last 5-year plan?
It's been a while, 2014. That was the last time it's been done formally. I mean, we've put out a number of
Updates.
updates to it. There is some news on Vanpool, and Melissa, you can elaborate on this, but I was excited to hear at the Ride for Myrtle Beach public meeting, Clay Britton told me that they had signed a contract. And so now we're kind of going back into the data process to see if we can't generate a couple of Vanpools through their, with their employees. Any new news on that at all, or?
That's the exciting news. Now, we're redoing the maps.
Right.
With the change, the last set of maps that we did was back in September. So just to make sure we have a current solid map for the properties. And then we're meeting with them to review those again early March, but ultimately we're hoping to have enough interest generated to get something going in April. That's my target.
It might actually happen. How about that?
And you had conversation last night with McLeod Health on Vanpool.
Yeah, and we've been in touch with them a little bit, so we'll try to get them in the process. I will say that Vacation Myrtle Beach is maybe a half step behind Britain in terms of getting their contract signed, but they're also going to be on a similar track to try to get 1 or 2 Vanpools rolling before summertime. Triennial staff and I are neck deep in delivering all the things that a triennial reviewer would ask for. It's actually our first iteration that's due tomorrow. So we'll be working on that here for the rest of the week. We are expecting the review to actually take place. It looks like now it'll be July when it takes place. But that's happening. I let the committee know that our National Transit Database submittal was complete. However, when I got back to my office, I had an email from them asking me 2 more questions. Those have since been answered, and we are now complete on the NTD. And we talked about what's going on with future meetings.
Before you leave the slide, the 5310 award, you corrected before, Elizabeth Tucker said there's 3. Said Brian is greedy. He asked for 6, he gave us 3. I said, well, good. Next year we'll ask for 8. You'll give us 4. She did say you were greedy, though. Rob let me sit in for him at the GSAS meeting last week, so.
Guilty as charged.
It actually was more than 5 million.
It got your name tag there.
Oh, my name tag on.
I thought, oh, just
There's
post
There's a 2-year lag on the.
I think, I realized, we're just gonna post our TV rep.
That's it.
Yeah, there you go.
Yeah, that's something like that. And then the last thing was, we talked a little bit about what's happening with the entertainment shuttle. I think probably the most exciting piece of that is, there's 2 pieces. One is that we've finally figured out how we're going to serve Barefoot Landing. So we're able to actually penetrate the parking lot, and we found a path through there that we think is going to be the path of least resistance. It's got 2 internal stops, one by is it Dick's Crab Shack and
Dirty Dicks.
and then up by Flying Fish. So it gets all the way to the back of the property. We will be able to serve that alignment with both routes, both the entertainment shuttle as well as Route 17. And so you can serve it from both directions, which is nice. We're utilizing one of the traffic signals to get in and out of there. And I know that our friends at the chamber will be really happy about that. And they've kind of been engaged to look at the rest of the route, kind of some of the ideas, and they've committed to helping us with some of the marketing for it this year. I think Myrtle Beach, we've got a couple of issues that we're working on related to alignment. There's been this new process that this police shuts down the northbound lane on Ocean Boulevard on Friday and Saturday nights, which means we either get pushed out to Kings Highway or we have to reverse the route. So I need to have a conversation with Chief Proc about sort of how that works and would it be possible for them to shut down the southbound lane so that we can kind of keep getting through there. But that's down in the weeds a little bit. I think we've got to work on signage for the entertainment shuttle in Myrtle Beach. And then the big thing that really applies to both is the question of whether or not we charge a fare. And I would say, given the ridership last summer, obviously we had some challenges on the marketing side. North Myrtle Beach kind of moved around a lot, in terms of Windy Hill and getting into that little area in Barefoot that we got into. And so it's pretty inconsistent during the course of the summer, that it makes some sense to try to encourage usage by making it fare free.
And how much do we make on both of the, entertainment
Less
shuttles?
than 10,000. It was not a lot. I say that the route in North Myrtle Beach kind of got coalesced with Route 17. So we might have made a little bit more than that in North Myrtle Beach. And we'll separate it this year so we have good stats on how those services are doing. But I think that it makes sense to offer it. Both city managers are fine with it. They've been contacted. City North Myrtle Beach is allocated $275,000 for it, their portion of theirs. And so we should be seeing that check sometime between now and May. Haven't heard on what the fiscal year 25 budget line item is going to be in Myrtle Beach.
So the change from fair to no fair this year, what steps do we need to take?
I think I would just like to get consensus from the board that you guys are aware of it and understand it and are okay with it. I think,
You want a motion?
please. I don't know if that's something that should come from Service Pack maybe, but that's kind of what we talked about in Service Pack, that, we would get some sort of consensus from the board on that.
I think we already got that,
Got it from Service Pack,
but it's service back.
right?
So the full board, there's a request in for votes for both cities to have fare free service during the entertainment shuttle.
Proposal.
All those in favor, please say aye. Those opposed? Okay, so we've got ayes and no noes.
Right, what's where's that picture?
This picture?
Inside, design sign.
Yeah, that was the wraps we put around the bus stop sign poles.
While you're on the entertainment show, last night Lauren had a good conversation with Rick Elliott Reynolds with the big design up in North Myrtle, or Myrtle also. And he's agreed to work with her to get some parking out for other potential clients coming in. He had a good conversation with him about it.
Well, and I think that's a key strategy for us this year that Lauren's been talking about, is getting into a lot of the pre-trip materials for people who, can learn about the entertainment shuttle before they get here. And certainly our front desk marketing is not effective. And so we're hopeful to get in room and get a little bit more out of the chamber for
He
advertising.
also agreed to do something digital as well as paper product, did he not?
Yeah.
Are there less J1s now than there used to be? It seems to me to be. Yeah.
I think overall, yes. It's still quite a few of them. And I don't think they're pre-COVID numbers. I mean, that's kind of been the issue, I think.
I don't think they've been rising high since COVID.
Right.
Okay.
So I don't know.
Growing back up,
Lauren?
but definitely not where we were prior to COVID.
Yeah,
It's going.
it is going back up. What about HB2s?
It's hard to say because we're at the mercy of what gets approved.
Right.
It's a huge discussion in itself, but overall in the US, the demand is twice what the supply is for work visas. How about that? The demand here is more than it's ever been, but the supply is not there to support.
Right.
Well, I think one of the big things is the market, especially when city like the beach, raising the parking fees and taking out a lot of the free zones and stuff like that. I mean, this is a real good, that's what I tell visitors when they come down. If we go down to Market Common, go down to Different Landing or the other head, hop on the subway, stop at all the stops and it's coming every 20 minutes.
Yeah.
Go to all the places you want, don't cost you.
So I think that summarizes service pack.
If we have
Anything else to add?
a question about the service pack, is there an outstanding issue of service pack wanting a monthly report on complaints? I don't think I heard any outcome of that.
It is-
I've asked for that and
It's in process.
Okay, so we have
We're
a
working
meeting
on it. We're working.
in the minutes of this meeting as well?
It doesn't have to be. I mean, we're working on it and I'm working with the committee to get them the information that they need.
Okay, if they're happy, I'm happy.
Is Erica the one mover on that? Or is that your staff, Erica?
Yeah, I mean, we've got to get some procedures in place. I mean, I think the complaints that get elevated, we have pretty good information on. I don't know that we're doing a good job on trend data. But what I really want to get at is what all calls are about, and getting trend data based on all calls, not on, a lot of them are resolved at the point of contact by whomever answers the phone. We don't have any information on that.
And to answer part of your question there is, I envision that at this board meeting with my service pack, one of the first things I can help with is there was this many complaints, we looked at this many things.
Okay,
He's getting ready to put us through the ringer, to say the least. So,
okay. All right, moving on to finance.
Thank you, Chairman. I'm going to just give a very brief overview of the financials. Everyone's gotten them and there are comments and they're not a lot different than they are usually. The fares are slightly below last summer and a year ago. Salaries and benefits of overtime maintenance. The percentages are high, the numbers are not overall too bad. The operating expense with some ups and downs is down 1.6%. So we're down 1.6% after 4 months into the fiscal year. So I think that's pretty good. The operating and capital revenues are up. The grants are up. I don't understand how that can always be, but it seems to be. Let's see, the balance sheet, I'm looking at the LGIP totals. My concern is that it's $87,000 in both accounts. But my real concern is that it's $87,000 last month too. So we missed our budgeted $10,000 a month contribution. So that is, that's concerning because I think
Actually, we put in 52,000
right
during the course of the year. So that's more than the 48,000 for the 12,000 a month.
Right, and in 215, I think I don't have the date in front of me, there was a 30,000 contribution.
Yeah, and that didn't happen yet.
Okay, and then in March and April 15th is another 12,000. So we're going to talk about O&M reserve quite a bit today.
Yep.
The ridership is down about 5,000 from last year. Although some of the mailbox failures may be the reason for that. No accidents or breakdowns are reported, so that's what we just finished over here.
Yeah, actually, we need to update those numbers. Those didn't get put in there. And I'm not sure where they are for the month of January, but I'll get that in there today and put it out there.
There's a couple of things I just want to talk about briefly. One is we had our first van pool look last October. We kicked it down to February, and I'm just suggesting, I don't think we need motions or anything, that we kick it down now to October. And that will be, or I think we can say 6 months from the beginning. So if it begins in April, then maybe October, we keep track of that. Is a government shutdown coming soon, or maybe soon?
We're going to talk about that.
Yeah, I think they'll somehow find a way because it can't help anyone to do that. I would like everyone to, if they get time, to take a look at the FAIR study on their OneDrive. It looks very dense. It's a lot easier to read than it appears to be. It's a little more understandable than it appears to be. At least I thought it was.
Good.
And I had some stuff about the TPP, but that we've talked about to Brian. I want to talk about the O&M reserve for just a minute. Our O&M reserve is at $87,000 now. The funding
Take a
agreement,
moment to explain to the full board what the O&M reserve is.
the O&M reserve, is our money in reserve. It's operations and maintenance reserve. There are actually two accounts. One is O&M and one is cash requirements. Maybe I forget what that's called.
What line item is that?
Cash management.
Cash management account. That's on the balance sheet. I think that's page 6, and I don't have it in front of me.
That's 6.
Okay, so our O&M reserve right now, both together, are 87,000. Our budget agreement with Horry County calls for us to have a 5% of operations O&M reserve. So 5% of our operations would be about $400,000. So we're way down on that. So we had a meeting last week, I believe, and Barry Spivey, the finance person over there, gave us a very big break, and I really give Barry Spivey a lot of credit for it, and I give a lot of credit to Brian, because I think the county is really trusts him, and I think that's really getting us down the road. But what they have approved for us is an extra 3 months of monthly payments instead of going back to quarterly. So that will go through June, and maybe we can extend that further.
And that helps cash flow more than anything else.
They're going to approve a waiver of our lack of O&M reserve until the end of our fiscal year. And there is some discussion in my mind. I thought they were saying that they were giving us to the end of the fiscal year to figure out how we were going to get there. On second listening to it, and I can play it for you if you want, it's a few minutes. I believe they meant that they want us to be there at the end of our fiscal year, which is going to be a little more difficult, of course. But they've approved a waiver at least till the end of the year. They want us to have a budget revision by the end of March that shows how we get there. And there was another thing that they did, was $100,000 that was in our O&M reserve was money that was there for our facility. So they took money out of our pocket of money, or tranches, these guys say, of our money for Texas fairs, which was $190,000. They left $90,000 in that pile for Texas fairs. They put $100,000 into the facility, which they kept. They're holding on to it. So we are not liable for their $100,000 in our O&M reserve anymore. So we really have a true $87,000, and they want us to know. They want us to tell them how we're going to get to 400,000.
Is that legal?
But they did.
Yes. Yep.
Anything they do is legal.
Yes.
Now, isn't there another bulk of money sort of Pending on that also, or the,
The road,
yeah.
the 200,
Yes.
300,000.
Yes.
Yeah, good point. There's $300,000 that they hold of our money in escrow due to the road use tax. They have acknowledged that they owe us that money. They have not said, at least in my reading of it, that $300,000 is going to go toward the $400,000 of reserve. They have not said that. If they meant it, I missed it, or they didn't
I
say
think
it.
Barry brought it up just so that council understood that presumably our cash position would be $300,000
Right,
better than it is now if those dollars had been
right.
released.
One of the
Which is-
extenuating circumstances of Coast is that we have $300,000 there that we're not giving it to them.
And he and I talked about it, and I think he was willing, we talked about whether or not they would transfer those dollars and I would just put them into local government investment pool. And he said the issue with that is he would have to allocate it from somewhere. Because he can't allocate it from the road use fee.
Right, and you can
Piece.
allocate it.
And I said, at that point, I said, well, then just hold on to it. And the only issue I have with that is that could be in our reserves and we could be earning interest, which is a more significant thing nowadays.
I did not say that
But
you could use that as credit toward our, and whatever.
no, he hasn't.
He hasn't said that.
And everything he did say, I was telling, I think it was Daryl, it kind of felt like a bailout,
I didn't have.
but it's not a bailout.
No, I understand.
You're talking about dollars that have already been assigned to Coast
You
RTA.
know, I felt like this is talk to us, and you can really look at it if you want to show the whole thing. But,
Sorry, can I ask a quick question? Can you say who they and he is again?
Council, Horry County,
Okay,
and he is Barry Spivey, who's the Assistant County Administrator for Finance.
thank you.
and they have been very fair with Coast, I think.
That was an INR committee where it kind of
Yeah.
got like
I think they
2
have
weeks
been.
ago.
Yeah.
I think I met him.
So,
I got one more thing before
well, I just wanted to say one more thing about that.
I got one more thing about, all of this is what's causing, aside from our usual business, is causing us to have the budget revision.
There you go. Okay. What was I gonna say? We have a meeting with county staff next Thursday. And so I will get the rundown on how our funding agreement is going to change. Council already approved, on consent agenda. But I did not actually see new funding agreements. It was just a resolution that they were making these changes, but I haven't seen the details of that yet.
Well, I don't recall them saying there'd be changes to funding.
Kitty has the question.
Let me just get this straight. What this is going to do, or is going to do, or is doing, is getting the county out of the problem we have. And it helps us also. Is that what you're saying?
What I'm saying is
Because
that
they had a problem.
the county, and their problem was that we were out of compliance,
Right.
and they're helping us get back into compliance. That's what, I'm not sure what you're asking, but. is that what you're
Well,
asking?
I just want to identify one, because I've had no paperwork on this, because I have no computer, so I just got finances here.
Well, their funding agreement calls for us to have 5% of $8 million, and we don't have it.
We have
That I know, that I know.
1/10 of what we need.
I would say,
But I'm saying this is helping both, this is helping the county and helping us. It's not just helping us,
Tell me more what you think something from.
because they had a problem with us.
What-
And it
What's
was
our
against
problem?
them.
We caused the problem.
I know, but they had to get out of it.
Yeah.
Because it was, is that true?
well, I don't know, I wouldn't call it that, but I see what you're saying, but, I mean, they're solving the problem.
There's no doubt, the reason why that provision is in the funding agreement is because way back when, I said we needed an O&M reserve. And so,
Well, didn't
But we
have
do.
it-
and we still do need an O&M reserve, and it needs to be bigger than 5%.
Didn't
What?
we have it at one time?
We did
And we had to
after the
use it.
CARES Act, and we
Yeah, all that.
had to use
Yeah,
it,
all right. Okay.
which is a good segue into this graph.
I'm just trying to
I'll go
understand.
back, but that meeting, in addition to Barry, I agree Bernie's take. I didn't take Barry as a bailout, or I thought it was a positive thing that he did. But after he spoke, Gary Lofters turned to Brian and said, it won't be that easy next time. I think people on Horry County Council expect us, I think they expect to see something in budget revision, a plan to get the
I think they will too, and I hope, and we need to give it to them for them and for ourselves.
You were talking
That's all
about-
that's all I was trying to understand.
Yeah.
It's,
Right.
I mean, it's a little bit of, making sure that Coast RTA and the county are on the same page, because they are looking at the potential for releasing a significant amount more funding at some point here in the next years. So, I get it. So I just wanted to just talk a little bit about the budget revision and lay it out for you all. I think I have the numbers crunched. I've got a few grants that I need to get in place before it becomes real. And I'll lay all that out for you. But the first two graphs I wanted to show you, they're a little bit confusing, but I tried to simplify this a little bit. The blue dashed line this is all cash. I always get in trouble with Ron when we're not talking about accruals versus cash, accrual accounting versus cash. But this is all cash. And I think that.
Time to get cash, so it's
And-
all relevant.
Right, and so that, and that becomes significant when I show you the last fiscal year. This is FY '22, so this is 2 fiscal years ago. And the gray line is our bank account, has nothing to do with local government investment pool. All right, it's what's in the bank account. Orange is expenditures, and blue is cash receipts coming in. And what this illustrates is that beginning around March, April timeframe, our cash receipts start dropping. And this is primarily because of that rural program. We spend down all those dollars and we're not getting payments from the rural side of things until you get to the July county payment. Because remember, back at this time, we were doing quarterly payments. And I also want to make the point that here in April of '22, we put 300,000 into the local government investment pool. You can see our bank account takes a pretty good hit in May. That's primarily because of that. And I will say, because of the big difference between revenues and expenses, cash wise, we probably had to pull it right back out. I didn't have time to go in there and kind of see what our withdrawals look like, but we essentially pulled it right back out. And so if I look at '23, this is kind of interesting. I guess a couple things. One, here we had a month of cash going out the door of over $1 million. That's the only instance over the past 2.5 years that we've had that. And it's because we purchased radios. So we had 250,000 going out, but we only had this amount of cash coming in that month. And so you can see we took a hit on a capital project, and we reduced our cash position in order, even though we brought in 80% of that radio expense, it took a hit. We took a hit on our cash position.
Were trolleys the year before?
Trolleys were the year
That
before.
was a lot of money.
Yeah.
More than radios.
Right, and that was a big hit on our local government. I mean, back then, our local government investment pool was in the $1 million range, and we spent 500,000 on trolleys. And so the other interesting thing here, I'm trying to remember my numbers here. We only had, what is that? That's like 500,000 in cash going out the door in June. Our expense, our accrual was 750,000 for the month. And then in July, we had cash going out the door closer to $1 million. But our income was well over $1 million. And there's two things happening here. One, we're able to recoup a lot of those expenses in June and get paid for them in July. We also got a big check from the county in July. And I will say that those dollars going out the door in June were low because we were holding invoices, because of cash requirements. And so, it's the same thing every spring. April, May, June, the bottom falls out. And then July, we usually recover a little bit. We have a little bit of a hard time getting through August because our state money, which kicks in on July 1st, we don't see the first check from that until like mid-September. Because we put in an invoice in August and it takes them more than 30 days to pay. So this is something that I'm going to take up with the state. And I think the state is going to be critical to helping us kind of avoid this issue this spring and summer. The budget revision, this hasn't changed since last week from Finance Committee, Bernie. There's a couple of things that, a couple of targets. One thing is looking at sales, salaries and benefits for transit. I'm not proposing that we change that budget. I'm sorry for those of you online, I'm gonna stand up so I can point out some of the stuff to everybody. That 3.8 million in labor costs for transit operations is not gonna change, even though we're reducing our service a little bit. I'm just, because we're running over budget, I just want to bring our service down and make sure that we hit our budget mark. But I'm going to take 80,000 out of this category and put it into 80,000 to correct for our overtime. Because our overtime is even further over budget than regular transit hours. So I think this combination plus pulling down our service hours a little bit should correct that line item. I need to put in.
And you said moving the four drivers from the route between Horry County and Georgetown, those drivers would just be shifted to another place you need them, right?
Yeah, there's no drivers losing any hours out of this.
I figured.
We're losing some overtime. They might be losing a little bit of overtime. Hopefully, that's kind of the key here. But we spent a lot of money in overtime and maintenance primarily because of the move, and now they're covering 2 spots instead of 1. So I need to put in a little bit of extra there. We still have one possibility of hiring another tech, which would smooth that out as well. Vehicle maintenance. I have 2 engine transmission emission packages I need to put into New Flyer buses. We're just proposed. We try to put out an RFP to do this on the capital side, and we got $362,000 per bus, or 326 or something. We can't do that, so we're gonna do it the old-fashioned way and put in new engines as part of our preventive maintenance program. And those will just get worked into our normal expenses and get billed under 5307. So let's talk about that in terms of where those dollars are coming.
You decided not to use that 5311 additional funding.
Oh, no, it's coming.
It's coming. It's coming. Because, I was planning we were going to use that.
It'll just roll into PM. Yeah, and it'll just roll.
What about, one other quick question, because it impacts this is, I noticed you had a cutaway coming out of 5339. Is that the existing 5339?
Additional formula funds. But I have to cover.
So you've not applied for those funds yet?
Right. But the big trick is covering the local match of it. Which
I had a lot of money in that 5311 going into those engine rebuilds. I don't know.
It'll be a combination of our rural and our urban programs paying for this. And that's where a bulk of our additional funding is going to be coming from, is out of the urban and rural programs. So
What is the remaining expense column?
well, I'll get to that in just a second.
Okay.
We're not spending nearly as much money in Vanpool as I originally anticipated or was hoping for. So I can take some money out of this. This doesn't really help us on the revenue side because there's no revenue associated with the Vanpool, but it helps us on the expense sides. So kind of move things around. Correcting, what is that? That's telecommunications. That's running about $2,000 more per month than we anticipated. So, and we will be looking at trying to consolidate some of our data plans and things like that to bring those costs down. And then 24,000 is for IT, which is running a little hot as well. We'll be examining that. So all told, it's and this is something I want to talk to the board about, because going to the county with a new budget revision that shows O&M reserve increasing, it's going to look a little wonky if I'm also spending an additional $254,000 in expenses. So we need to think about how we present that strategically. So this column, that's the remaining amount of expense to get us through September 30th.
Okay.
All right. And so all that is what we spent to date, or our new budget minus what we spent to date. After that. The 5.67 million.
Right, you made reference now, I think 2 or 3 times in meetings I've been, that you're gonna have to get some money to pay for, on bus interviewing, with the riders. Where's that money?
I'm gonna lay that out for you right now.
Okay,
Question.
Yes.
Van pools. In some of the discussions we've had, we've talked about the first year of it. Is the first year 2024, or is the first year from the time an employer signs the contract for 12 months?
I think it's the first year that the employer signs a contract. I think it's not really tied to a fiscal year. As far as they're concerned, as far as enterprise is concerned.
I have a question on the previous slide, which I just lost here, but. LGI.
Yes.
Okay. Yep.
I mean, on this budget revision, your LGIP contribution has not increased. It's still the same.
I'm getting there.
not at all.
I'm getting there. But you do raise a point that we still have $68,000 in LGIP contributions that is incorporated into this $5.7 million. That we still got 68 million that's planned to go, or 68,000 that's planned to go in there.
Plus the.
But that's incorporated in that number. So hang with me, because I'm gonna change that in a minute.
This is exactly what we saw last week.
Pretty close. Yeah, I don't think I changed it. Okay, so that 5.763 million includes 68 million going to O&M reserve. It repairs budget overages, overtime, IT, telecommunications, incorporates new engine transmission emission package replacements for buses, and represents 254,000. I love reading bullets. I have 3 other items that I need to account for in this budget. One, I need an onboard survey, which is going to cost $10,000 in local funds, to local match. It's a $50,000 project. So I've also got to identify 40,000 in federal funds in order to pull it off.
Where are you gonna get the 45?
I'm going to tell you in just a minute. Parcel due diligence. I got about $25,000 I need to spend on the parcel between now and June 1st in order to do the acquisition. And that includes getting it surveyed and doing another appraisal. So I got to pay for that out of, and that'll be paid for out of local funds. And then I got to purchase 3 transits. Remember, originally we were going after 4, but we only got money for 3. So I got to purchase 3 transits in 1 cutaway, the local match for which is going to cost $74,000. That's a total of 5.871 million. So I've added up these 3 things with the number that you saw on the last page in terms of expense.
How do we get it?
So here we go. So here's our, oh, well, wait a minute. There's our 5.871 million there at the bottom of the page. That's the number we're trying to reach. I currently have in place $5.4 million in revenue. So I'm $429,000 short to put all that in there. The only issue with that 5.442 million is that it incorporates $500,000 in FY24 urban money. That isn't available to us yet because they haven't done a budget deal in Congress. So it's not going to be available to us probably until after July 1st, I'm thinking. But I can't, I mean, that hurts us if I can't get that in place anytime soon.
Brian, when the county council is talking to us about all of this, does the county council have the same screwy problems that we do in timing? Or is theirs cleaner?
No, because they have a ton of money in reserve. I mean, their reserves are hundreds of millions of dollars. Compared to our 67,000 or 80,000.
So
it's a big difference.
Do they understand the dilemma that we struggle with? It's always, well,
I think Barry does. I think Barry does, for sure. He totally gets it.
The money, it's been approved us. We just won't see it for 6 more years.
We'll see, we'll see. But let me get to the punchline.
Okay.
So I'm proposing, in addition to that 500,000 that I've got to get into a grant that's not quite available, GSATs is getting ready to bequeath us the FY18 North Carolina funding.
Good.
So that's $149,000. 45,000 of that will pay for my onboard survey. The rest will go into operations.
Do you reduce local match money, like, you know, well, yeah, spend at 149. There's limits, but you can reduce our local match on other projects.
Well, we're generating the ability for local match because we're pulling in more federal dollars, because we've always overmatched our federal dollars. So we're just increasing the percentage of federal dollars on our normal expenses. And then the other thing I want to do is pull in an additional 480,000 in 5311, which is our rural program through the state. And this would be part of our 2-for-1 deal. You guys remember me telling you about the 2-for-1 deal? Where we're trading in the next 3 years of our state money for twice as much in federal money. And so that 480 represents half of that deal. So rather than going for that over 3 years, I'm going to say I want half of it this year and I want half of it next year to get us through that gap to get to the hopefully sales tax.
And who's got to
funding.
give the okay to that?
I'll be in Columbia next week to talk to them about it.
You talked to him last night.
Yeah, I talked to Justin, talked to him about that, but no, it's Jen Necker, who's now taken over for Doug Freight, and she seems like a reasonable person, but that's kind of where we're at. I think part of our issues are because of their payment schedule. And what that in effect does is that April, May, June timeframe, we'll still be able to draw rural dollars. And it'll just kind of keep us afloat from a cash perspective as well. So all told, I'm bringing in 629,000 in additional revenue above and beyond what we originally had in the budget. I propose that we add another 96,000 in local government investment pool. So that brings me up to 5.967, and it gives us 104,000 left over.
Another story of Rumpelstiltskin.
What'd you say?
Rumpelstiltskin, he can turn straw into
Yeah.
gold.
Well, look, I mean, we are kicked, as Ron likes to say, we are kicking the can down the road. And what this involves is utilizing FY 24 5307 funds this year in FY 24. And typically we try to spend last year's money this year, but we had to do it last year. Have to do it this year, and we'll have to do it again next year.
So we're
And
spending
then after that, we should
have
do
money this
a
year.
little bit, yeah.
I got a question though.
So it's not really Rumpelstiltskin, it's just kicking the can down.
Well, he was a little imp anyway, wasn't he?
Yes, he was. He was very impish.
Yeah. Well, if this budget, I'm thinking of the county now, if this budget revision wants us to show how we're gonna move toward compliance, I get it. But what if this budget revision says we need to show compliance by the end of this fiscal year?
And I will get that squared away with Barry next Thursday when I meet with him.
Okay.
And by the time I get to that meeting, I will have the state's call on whether or not the 480 is going to be available. There's no reason why it shouldn't be.
If it is, then, and if need be, get that $400,000 in there by September 30.
Right, and then the other question will be, when do they want us to be fully compliant?
Yeah, that's
If it's the end of the fiscal year, then I've got some more thinking to do.
right. Okay.
But I mean, this gets us to what? This gets us to another 150,000, gets us to 250 roughly.
And I think, from what I can see of Barry, I think that's going to satisfy him. I hope so.
Well, and we have some, I won't call them extenuating circumstances, but we have some circumstances where I've got to add some expense in order to keep my buses running for the summer. Those two rebuilds need to happen before the summer comes.
Okay, well, let me know next week what you find out.
With that 96,000, what will our total reserve be?
Roughly 250
Close to 4.
by the end of the fiscal year. And we got another 104 maybe to play with.
We're kind of limited by the fact that we're cost reimbursement on these federal funds. So the only place we can get LGIP contributions from is local funding.
Right.
So we can't double dip, so we're locked into a finite, basically our cap is whatever our federal expenses are, for those federal grant draws. So we can't pull money out of, federal grants and bump up this reserve, obviously. So
Yeah.
we're getting up against that cap of what we've been funded versus what we're going to spend. I mean, it's a little confusing, but the problem of bumping that up quickly is where are we going to get the money from? Because we can't, contract, we don't have enough cash in the checking account to make that happen, from local funds.
And what I've seen from the county, I expect them to be reasonable,
Yeah.
because they have been so far.
I don't know if you take into account, like usually Georgetown gives us, they true up their
Right.
fees, their road use
Put that in
fees.
here, because I don't know what that number is. but-
Yeah, last year it was like $50,000 and they were anticipating it might be higher. And there's some like back legal issues with that too that we might.
No, they,
Did they
theirs
resolve
is
that?
no longer in litigation, but you're right, that is potential in July when Georgetown County does their true up on road use fees, that we'll see some increase in.
And they're very conservative, so that'd probably be pretty decent.
Should be.
One more question. Go ahead.
Yep.
Go ahead.
You said the road use issue in Yorktown has been resolved?
It's been resolved as far as we're concerned. They gave
give
us
us-
whatever they collected, whether or not they still have money in litigation or not, I don't know.
Okay.
Lily Jean, do you know if your FY 22 road use fees are still sitting in escrow somewhere? And don't answer if you can't, that's okay, we can find out, but. Yeah, so that's out there,
That can get you halfway where you want to go.
and those,
Get lucky, so.
those augmentations that I have here in red can be adjusted as well. If the county says, no, we want it done by the end of the year, then I would just adjust those.
Let's talk for a minute about the budget revision timeline.
Yeah,
We need it by March, the end of March. So we have, in between now and then, we have a finance committee meeting and a board meeting.
so this is kind of similar to what we're doing on Route 16. I would ask the board to let me lay this out to INR the way I have it. And see if they're okay with that, or if they, if they want me to, I presume that will be on the March 13th or whatever, that following Tuesday is when the next meeting is. Let them know I've still got to get these grants in place. And, so they know what the plan is moving forward, and then I can bring them a formal request in the next month.
Okay. So you're meeting with Barry on
And I should have a good indication of if that's gonna fly by then. So, and maybe we do a impromptu finance committee meeting to just to hammer it
So
out.
what we're asking the board is to let you go ahead with the data that you have, seeking guidance from county council, and that we intend a month from now to have a formal vote on our revised budget. That's after the meeting that we're writing down there, Marty?
I'm trying.
Okay, so
I'm gonna
so we
go
have,
back.
the board is approving the go-ahead for the GM to present the draft budget revision in, with the intent that the board will have a final vote on the budget revision yet to come.
Last meeting in March.
and knowing that
Long as
we're
we're
going this
draft.
by the end of March.
Yeah,
The way you say that motion draft, we're authorizing to present our draft recognition that
right.
the full board will vote on that later in March.
So two other asides. One, none of these numbers, aside from the due diligence I talked about, the survey and the appraisal, include the actual acquisition of the parcel. All of those dollars now are all off-site. I mean, that's state money, that's money from the city and money from the county, because the county made that transition of 100,000 So I don't need any money out of this budget in order to pull that.
That's on page 19 in your board report, by the way. You just have to
Yeah,
move
where those dollars-
100,000 from tranche 1 to tranche 2, and it all just falls into place. So if you have a pay, look it up or.
Second thing is, we have $433,000 in reserve 5339. That is our formula capital projects fund. 93,000 of it is sunsetting by the end of the fiscal year. So that's where I'm getting the federal portion of this cutaway. And so that's, I mean, I've got the local match covered in this budget, but I didn't pull in the 5339 for that capital purchase.
Do I have a motion for what we suggested that the GM will bring forth a draft budget revision, and within a month, the end of March, the board will make a formal approval on the budget revision. Do I have a motion to approve that?
So moved.
Any questions?
Do we need to add in that this has to be completed by March 30th, or is that misunderstood? I think it's understood by
I
everybody.
think that's understood.
Okay.
Yeah, I mean, I think we need to probably do our vote in
All
March.
right, all those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
All those thoroughly confused by what Brian is about to do, please say maybe. I got a couple of maybes.
Maybe.
Well, if I had you as one of my children, I wouldn't sleep at night. I don't have to think about 20% of what.
That's
you
funny, I have that problem at home myself.
As a problem
I
solver.
don't understand what I'm.
And when one problem is solved, another problem comes along. So believe me, I'd probably live out in the garage or something.
So look, I mean, it is the nature of the job. I mean, there are a lot of funding sources that get cobbled together on an annual basis, so.
Yep.
All there is to it. I mean, and we are borrowing forward a little bit, and it's the only way to do it.
Kitty, you've got a question or a point? Or are you just waving your finger? There we go.
Is this recording?
Yes.
I don't have a question.
I was thinking the same thing.
But I will tell someone after.
Well, I think the board has
What is that all about?
they got an appropriate right to be anxious. And just as you do, and I don't mind stating that on the line, that we have an appropriate right to be anxious that the money that is yet to come in could meet our needs. The lesser come in.
Call your congressman to get the budget
Well,
approved.
that's,
My question would not be about that.
before we leave finance, I understand all this longer term. I'm more worried about the next 2 weeks and cash flow.
Yeah, and government closed.
Transportation is one, and that's first thing. Everybody except air traffic controllers are gonna go home. What?
Yeah, I mean, in years past, Echo has still remained open, which is how we get our payments. And so I have money in place in a grant that's in Echo that he just electronically pulls down money and it happens the next day. And so I think we're okay.
Take the
I
money.
think we're okay for the next 2 weeks.
Okay.
But if there is an issue there, then we've got, I don't have an answer for you on how we react.
Should I bring cookies, not cookies, but money next time?
Absolutely.
What is ECHO? The term?
Echo is the system that the FCA uses to pay invoices. So when we have a grant and we're drawing money in that grant, we submit our draw request to Echo, and that's how the transfer of funds occurs.
So people still go to work, you say?
I think they could work from home. I think it's all electronic, so I don't know that that's a staffing issue per se. I could be wrong, but in years past, when there's been a government shutdown, money that's already been assigned to a grant doesn't stop flowing.
Yeah, I think that's just false to the banking system. I don't think anybody's actively reviewing anything. We just submit it and until we deplete all our funding for that cycle or that grant.
It's
just
probably aside from civil rights and our maintenance stuff and ADA, that's what Triennial's looking at. is how those draws were done. So, I mean, that's, they look at all that in arrears.
Well, across the country, people may get upset if it closes down, and we won't be the only ones.
I would think, well, I think there will be some options to kind of scare us over that, but we'll see.
I don't think they're gonna close it
There's
down. I
one-
think they're gonna find a way.
I think
There's 1.2 million sitting in that account right now, so we should be good for a couple months.
Didn't we go through this once before?
Yeah,
We did.
yeah, yeah.
We did, and we had to get some extra money from the county.
I don't know if it's the House chair, I think it's.
And we borrowed money in the past to do it too. That went over like a lead balloon.
House chair has a problem with its edges.
If we had 4,000 in reserve though, we'd have rainy day fund to take care of this thing.
And no one knows that.
All right, so,
That's all I had on finance.
That's all I have.
do we have any other questions on the finance committee? Now, each of you is pretty excited about coming to our next finance committee meeting, which I thought was today. I'm so excited about it.
Well, thank you all, and thank you, Brian. Brian and Candace and
And we further notice that Bernie is gonna have to drop dead before we leave him away from being in charge of the finance.
Yeah, I don't want
He
to.
can understand most of what's going
No, I
on.
have no, I just trust Brian. If Brian called me on the phone, I think it was a scam.
He doesn't call me. My wife doesn't call me. My dog doesn't call me.
Okay, so we're on to compensation committee, I think. On the, we're back onto the agenda.
Yeah,
I think there's probably nothing on
From the
that.
previous chair of compensation, what month do I need to get excited about when I need you, I took over for you? Soon, isn't it? March, or April?
Yeah.
I can start doing something.
well,
No.
August is when you start due. Well, it's gotta be done by October 1.
Oh, okay.
August, you start razzing people.
Now mail out the
But
thing.
it takes you from June until.
To get the
October to
revised
the
stuff.
paper.
Right. Yeah, it doesn't ever come in June, and nobody fills them out in June.
Well,
But eventually we get to it.
I did, it took your
Yeah,
prerogative.
you're a perfect person.
It'll be next.
All right, so do we have any other ad hoc committees?
Yes,
Okay,
bylaws. We talked about this 2 months ago, and I haven't seen any revisions. We're supposed to do something with the
Nick had a revision.
Citizen Advisory Committee. Was that voted on? Did we change it? Did we do anything with it? Because I haven't been here.
We haven't done
Well, I thought we agreed to do it. There's a question over the phraseology, what we're gonna call the CAC. One of them is a called board. which-
Well, they took the committee, it was a committee on there, a board, yes.
The board's wrong, so I think we changed it to committee, right?
But
But
we changed,
specifically on page 9, Article 9, Citizen Advisory Board gets changed to Citizen Advisory Committee. And then the first sentence, should a Citizen Advisory Committee plus board might become necessary or just a problem about it.
You guys call Kitty on that. Did you get around to it?
well, we haven't changed that marked here, but don't we have to bring it before the board?
Right.
All right, then another one is Article 19, conflict of interest. I have paper to sign. What's that mean?
We used to get a form.
Well, we don't-
Yeah, then we looked into that, but we don't,
Someone on your staff is supposed to do that.
we looked
The
into,
other, no, the other, was supposed to be done, right?
there is a form, I remember we used to have you guys sign that we haven't been able to find it. So we'll keep looking and we'll get that squared away as
We
soon as
probably
possible.
have a copy of it in our files at home. I think I have it.
If you have one,
it.
I'll send it.
take a picture too of it and send it to me,
All right.
and we can recreate it.
Right.
Now, what are we going to make these changes now?
Sure, we can, make that change and then send it to the bylaws committee.
I also had it changed to page 11 on service/act committee, just to spell out public and agency
Yeah, well,
compensation.
this is, yeah.
Public agency coordination. Public and agency coordination, not political action committee.
That's what I thought it was. Did we discuss?
We can
it
spell
last
that out.
month?
We can do that. That's easy.
Okay, so that's not yet a voting item for the board.
No.
No, we
We're
have-
waiting for everybody to get that straightened out. And searching for the other notice, what was it when we couldn't find?
On our-
Oh, the ethics form.
The ethics form, it used to come out routinely every year. But then the person who did it is gone, so we need to find someone who is responsible for that.
Well, we have somebody who's responsible. He's got to find the form. Haven't been able to find it anywhere.
The person's named Brian.
Now,
So
this
we can do
codes,
that.
this codes bylaws, the last one I'm looking at is June 2023. Is that on the Apple that I'm gonna eventually get?
Yes.
It is.
Yep.
Okay.
I put it on there
Yeah,
today.
because I have 5 up here, I'm looking at. Different dates. I'm trying
Yeah,
to.
we'll,
get the
we'll
latest
go in there and in that folder, we'll do an archive file. So you, old versions will be in that and the latest and greatest will be the one that's in that file.
And we'll fill that out for June 24th.
Based on my bylaws.
Yeah, we'll fill that form out for this year, yes, for
Yeah.
FY 24.
If you can't find the form, my appointment from delegation is up April 28th. I had to fill out online yesterday, and there's a whole page on there on conflict of interest.
Really?
Mainly, yes, and what's changed, one of the commissions a year or so ago had a bad apple and it caused a lot of embarrassment. I don't feel that you fill it out, it goes to the governor's office first, for them to take a look at that.
I don't remember the rest of the article. It's just we had to sign it,
Yeah.
that we didn't.
You're not the county, though.
You're not a county appointee,
Yeah.
you're a city.
Oh, I know, but I'm just saying the one that we have here didn't sign.
No, I think I may have that. I have a lot.
So when do we want it signed by us to go to the county?
Is that what it
April?
is?
Nothing. No, no.
Okay, the form that we were talking about, that is internal to Coast RTA.
Yes, it
It
is.
doesn't have to go to anybody. The
Yeah,
form
we
that
can
he's
hold-
talking about is now, if you're a legislative delegate, or you have to sign something similar for the delegation.
All this form says is that we don't work for anyone that is conflict.
Right. I remember that.
Yeah, I think I
We're not related to
I remember it too, I just,
Yeah.
we just haven't looked for it.
So
And
what's-
that's all.
what's the
And
date
then
we're
all you
looking
do
for
is
to get
just
those
sign
filled
your
out
name
by?
and date it.
We don't have them yet.
We'll send them out as soon as possible and you can sign them.
I'll look for one. I might have.
We haven't found the blank.
This is a board that doesn't handle as soon as possible real well.
Well,
No.
We need an established date that we expect people to
I
think.
anybody
had- I
has-
had brought this up 3 months ago and
Yeah.
everyone since.
if anybody hasn't signed it by the time the next board meeting is, we'll put it in front of them to sign it then.
And that's what we usually sign.
So it'll be done
We didn't wait For
by
anybody to send it in because you know how that goes.
March 27th or whatever the date of the board.
Or else we'll shoot them. And we'll move along.
All right, moving on. I'm finished
Okay.
with that.
Where the changes in the bylaws stand, where does that stand here?
We're gonna make the changes to it and then submit it to the bylaws committee for them to meet and bring it has to go through them first before they can bring it to the full board for approval.
Okay. Any old business? Any new business? Right, here we go. General manager.
It's actually gonna be pretty short.
I have one new business.
Nothing did you say?
Is Lily Jean
It's gonna be
still,
pretty short.
is Lily Jean still on?
She is, but I don't know if she's.
I hope you're listening. I met your state senator from your area, Saab, last night, and he's really unhappy that you're leaving the,
Nah. Take it easy.
Got you cut off.
Okay,
I
Brian,
do-
you are up.
So the only
Yeah.
thing
I do
I
have a
have,
question under new business, if that's okay.
I'm sorry?
I do have a question. on new business. Financials. On when an employer buys the bus passes in advance, I assume that those get recorded as income as those are
Yeah.
purchased, right? How many employers actually purchase bus passes for their staff in advance? Do we know?
Aren't they giving out fruit?
For the
Not
year, yeah, 5 to 10. They're usually nonprofits like homeless shelters and
J. Reuben Home,
hospitals.
a lot of
They're
the,
not
yeah.
having-
a lot of resorts.
Like me, I want one to come to my house and pick me up.
And do we have, and maybe this is gonna end up being for our committee, but I feel like there may be a good opportunity in employer partnership for education, and are they really aware of the routes that are available to their staff, that they could buy these passes in advance? Because all the employers are having problems with people with transportation, which is why we're looking at these.
Used to do that.
And then there might be a connection with the Myrtle Beach Hospitality Association.
So in its current form, that pass is like a plain business card with no way for us to tell whether or not it's been used or not. So we are about I've been bugging our provider about this, to do a barcode ticket so that that can use the validator, single ride tickets, and then we know when it's expired or when it's been used. And so I'm supposed to meet with them on Monday to talk about sort of what that looks like. So as soon as we can get that in place, then I'll go out and market it. I don't want to put any more of these business cards out on the street than I have to at this point.
Which makes sense. I'm just thinking about there's a need between both, and part of this might be an education piece when the time is right between that and the being a full sort of the fluorescent lighting is kind of vertigo. And then with her piece with marketing and the properties.
Right.
Because I could, for the entertainment show, I mean, that's endless opportunity. And I think of, as an example, our website or our messages that go out to our guests in advance, knowing that there's a free shuttle would improve that ridership quite a bit. So I think there's a employer / Myrtle Beach Hospitality Association opportunity for it.
I think the best way to reach them is the employers.
I think starting probably with the Myrtle Beach Hospitality Association.
Is that still in existence? Okay, I know it's involved.
Yeah, it's, they reorganized, so they really fall under the state hospitality, but there's still a Myrtle Beach division, so to speak, right? So I don't, again, I don't know how much they don't know how much of that gets to the managers, but just listening to the financial piece today, clicked all this. And then when you were he was talking about Elliott, I'm like, there's a ton of opportunity in the properties for that entertainment shuttle and what we want to do. I think that's just, again, kind of going back saying,
Do you know who leads that locally? I know it used to be Jeffrey Wisniewski and then was involved, but I don't know who's in one right now.
we have a couple people on the board. Yeah, board through the state is Victoria. I can give you all the contacts to do that, because I can also tee up with our team, hey, this is what we're talking about, and we're trying to, get that out there, because it makes me think how many potential riders really even know about what to do. They're all trying to, we saw a shift from employment or ridership, and it has my brain too, where we had a lot of people riding the bus, and all of a sudden everybody started driving cars. Well, all of a sudden they're starting to have problems with their vehicles.
They can't park.
Let me see, I'm trying to,
That problem. But do some of those people even know, like, how easy it would be to ride the bus
Well,
and what the connections are?
Years we went, even before you came, we went into the hotels in North Carolina. And we put materials out, we had things that people behind the counter didn't give any of this information out. Even the chamber didn't even know we had a bus up there when I went in to talk to somebody in the chamber. Because I don't know how many times have we gone to the hotels and where do we get? We don't get anything. Really. I don't think, I know in North Carolina, they don't see this.
Yeah.
I don't know what the problem is.
I'm trying to wrap my head around it too. So I would love to have some information about that. We've tried to go, like last year I went in Myrtle Beach up and down hotels and just, put signs in, talk to the front desk. We did the BDS stuff. We've got the welcome packs. But I just don't know if we're still, getting that. So
The hard part about it is I think it has to be approached at a higher level, because there's so much turnover in hospitality in general that you could go, you might as well not go in.
right.
You know?
Well, that's what we were doing. We were kind of desperate to try to get some stuff up.
I've been
And
that for
then,
years. In North Myrtle Beach, we had our marketing director, Jefferson. Remember, she used to go to all the hotels. She spent most of her time walking the street, Ocean Boulevard in North Myrtle Beach. Just to see if they needed a bus. We didn't have a bus running.
There's a generic old business.
I don't know. I'd take a bus when I go, I'm not going now, but when I but I didn't go to the conventions or anything, but they gave us a pass, but I took a bus even if I didn't have a pass.
So there's a couple things there to unpack. I mean, one issue we've had with the Hospitality Association has been the lodging side of it, the resort side of it, hasn't really been quick to support us in a lot of different ways. And our theory on that has always been, they want to keep the people at the resort. They don't want them leaving to go anywhere. They want to spend their money at the resort. And so it's always been the entertainment side. You know, we've had good luck in the past with, the aquarium, Ripley's and Mark's group and Lazarus group and the entertainment side of the house as it relates to getting support for our services. But Melissa, that was one of the exciting reasons about you joining our board is that, when maybe we can crack that together. Billie Jean had to jump on.
Okay, well, we can talk more about it. I was just curious. And thinking about opportunities there because there's a need on both sides. I don't know what the answer is
I
and,
don't know either.
and people may not want to ride the bus at the end of the day, or they may, whatever, but
I think you're right, Melissa, that people don't know about the bus.
I think one of the problems with that is, and I've been in other cities and I travel all the time constantly. I've never stayed home, but at any rate, a lot of times you'll get these shuttles and they will stop at a resort or stop at a restaurant for a brief period of time instead of strictly stopping at street bus stop signs. So that way, temporary pause in there and people know where these stops are, especially if they're at a larger resort or restaurant that gets a lot of traffic, and sit for a minute. Like if you look at the big red bus, it pulls in Market Common, it sits there 20 minutes, outside.
Have you followed our bus in Martin?
Oh,
They stop at one place.
Many times,
They go
yeah.
down Ocean Boulevard, like they're trying to get.
Yeah, you're going
into the race.
65 miles an hour, yeah.
Yeah,
It's just,
yeah.
that's what I'm saying,
But
if
they
you
still
force
stop
them
at
to
each-
stop,
They stop at few, at the.
Publix,
Publix, right.
that's the only one, yeah, Publix they
And
do.
he sits there for a while, because I've gone there and I've talked to them, and they sit there.
And the other place would be a good place to stop, it's like moving house, you stop there.
Oh,
for-
yes,
you know,
because everyone.
Everybody goes to
Everyone
moving
that
house,
goes to
it's-
Blue
well,
Hills,
and we're
especially if they
right
don't have
there, I mean,
cars.
so if you stop for just, even 3-4 minutes, and just, once people become accustomed to that shuttle is gonna be there for just a.
The problem
Let's,
is, if they
let's
see a
put that on,
sign and no one's standing in front of the sign.
On the service pack agenda, please. We
Yes.
gotta kind of keep moving here.
Okay,
We'll get it on there.
all right, general.
So the only thing on the general manager report is just to let everybody know that the task legislative reception is next Tuesday night. I think in future years, Coast RTA should provide transportation to it, but we don't have that this year. But it's at 5:30 on Tuesday. Let me know if you want to attend.
Is it in Columbia?
It's in Columbia at the USC Alumni Center. Our primary focus is workforce transportation, senior transportation, healthcare transportation.
Sure.
And so I've been working a lot on our program for that. And last night at the Chambers reception, I made a point of letting everybody know that we were next Tuesday night. Yes, I'll be there from at least a number of our delegation to be there. So let me know, and I can get you an invitation.
AARP helping fund it this year?
AARP has given us $1,500 this year, and then it's a 3-year deal, so $1,500 the next 3 years. They're also planning on joining task, and I've been talking to Charmaine about getting some AARP money for local match on Vanpool.
All right, do we have anything for executive session?
No, sir,
Do we have anything for the good of the order?
not that I'm aware of.
This was a heavy meeting in terms of all the confusion and whatnot.
Yep.
All right, any announcements? Well, that actually is an announcement for the next week's meeting. And we could have that be in the minutes. How about adjournment? Do we have a proposal to adjourn?
I
Move to adjourn. A second.
Kitty 132. All those in favor of adjourning, please get up and go.
Contact us.
Take it easy, Elijah.
Have a good one. See you guys later.
Yep.
Well, thank you.
Thank you, Elijah.
As soon as the,
Lily Jean's on. Hope you get feeling better.
we'll arrange,